Super Idol di Charo, domain need to 10 by Chung for the
Avowed not looking. I'm confused. Oh my god, guys. Oh my gosh, bro, look at this fucking Stitch sweater, bro. Isn't this cool? Like, oh my gosh, his name's Stitch, and he's like Stitch. Yeah, my dad gave me this shirt randomly like yesterday. So okay, anyway, no. So, guys, there is like a boom in RPG games recently. That I mean, which is good, but like a lot of them are turning out to be dog shit. Unfortunately, um, KCD turned out to be great. I mean, I'm playing that shit. That's why I'm not playing Avowed right now. Like, I just I probably won't play Avowed until like March, realistically, until I finish KCD or until I like get towards the end. But I'd be like, yeah, and I made the right choices. I was thinking, which one do I play first? Do I play Avowed, because I just finished KCD 1 like literally a week ago, and I'm just like, okay, well, Avowed comes out very very soon, and KCD 2 is already out. Maybe I missed the hype train. I mean, I don't really care. Like, I'm gonna play the games either way. I don't know about Avowed anymore, but I was planning on playing KCD 2 either way. I'm just like, you know what, because KCD 2, I know the first one is good. It's pretty based. There's a lot of good things about the KCD 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Very good. 9 out of 10 by IGN, by the way. We can't really like trust IGN because they gave Veilguard a 9 out of 10. Even though I'm like a Dragon Age fan, I was like, that's too sus, bro. That's too sus for it to be 9 out of 10. There's no way. So I'm just like, that's very suspect. We're gonna watch the review here, but when I made the decision, I'm just like, well, the first one was pretty damn good, and I did also look at the reviews for everybody else for KCD 2, so I'm just like, all right, I choose KCD 2. I chose right, bro, because holy shit, it ain't looking good for Avowed from what I'm saying, from what I'm seeing. But it's also like, it's not like a bad game from what I'm hearing, but it's not like a great game from what I'm hearing. So it's like mid, like it's the actual genuine like definition of mid. So I mean, we'll see. I didn't finish Maddie's review. This one stings. So I'm just like, okay, if he doesn't like it, I probably won't seriously like it, like, because we got the same taste. When he did his Dragon Age review, I was like, no. Like, my heart sunk, bro, because we have the same taste in with RPGs and shit, generally. So when I saw that shit, I'm just like, okay. But I mean, you can see everybody else's reviews and shit. They're like, it's broken. I gotta watch that one too. Avowed review. I don't know what Skills Up actually said. We'll see later. But the final verdict review after 100%. God damn. Does Avowed boost excitement for Outer Worlds 2? No, probably not. Avowed reviews are in, and the game is a flop. Gay and Jesus Christ, yeah. I actually did see from Metacritic they gave it an 80 though. Interesting. I'm not sure if it's some Dragon Age shit where they probably paid the I'm not sure. Avowed hates men. Oh god, okay. I mean, Jesus Christ. The entire woke movement is panicking as a gamer gate surges. Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed again. Avowed proved modern gaming is getting worse. So it's looking like it's not, I mean, obviously it's not the best fucking game, but like, so many bears. Oh god. It's a diseased bear. It's not a great game, but it's obviously like, I don't know what the I mean, this is one of those games like, well, Veilguard was kind of hard to tell because like, there's people who paid for this shit, but like, Avowed is like actual mixed reviews, that I'm seeing, but it's generally in the positive side from what I, we can't really trust the journalists and these fucking motherfuckers reviewing this shit anymore, but from what I saw, the lowest score that people gave it was like a 6 out of 10. I saw like a whole list. The lowest was a 6 out of 10. There's a good amount of 7s, and there was a good amount of 8s and 9s, and it's just, I I don't know. You just gotta play it for, you know. And I do like Obsidian. I did like Grounded. I didn't finish it. It's kind of like a story type of Minecraft game, but you know, we'll see. Let's play the fucking video. Goddamn.
An insect-filled survival game
Goddamn.
and a 2D detective story straight out of the 16th century that were pleasantly surprising departures from what developer Obsidian does best.
That looks fun.
Avowed is a return to that traditional action RPG comfort food we know and love. Set in the fantasy, that traditional
The textures and shit look kind of weird. It's like a weird mix of colors and stuff, okay?
When love. Set in the fantasy universe of Pillars of Eternity.
And I don't know too much about Avowed. Like, I've heard of it, and I saw it at, like, was it the Game Awards or, like, Summer Game Fest? I don't know where I saw it. And it looked pretty cool. It was like, oh, yeah, look at that Skyrim, yeah. You got the magic book and the little one, and the pew pew abracadabra, or whatever the fuck they said. Harry Potter. Nah. It looked kind of cool, but I didn't like read too much into it. But I was hearing about, oh, Avowed's coming out. I'm like, oh yeah, that looked like from what I remember, you know, it looked kind of cool. Then I'm seeing all these reviews and shit. I'm like, no. So this is besides listening to Maddie when I'm driving to work in the car, this is like the actual video that I'm like sitting down. You saw that Maddie video, I kind of like somewhat towards the end of that review video. He was pretty mixed on it. He didn't really superly like it. I mean, I gotta finish it, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is my first time I'm like sitting down and like watching an actual video on this shit. So
this is a game that's filled with all my favorite RPG cliches.
I'm sure you've diffused
dwarves,
complicated situations,
like standing around a campfire with my party members to exchange dark backstories and unresolved traumas.
Seems strange to me.
And looting every single slain enemy before their corpse has even begun to cool. Per Obsidian's pedigree, the writing, world building, and open world maps are all quite good, and running around lobbing deadly spells at reanimated skeletons and violent lizard folk to claim shiny new gear is as—
I fucking hate the lizard people. No, Dragon's Dogma 2 just, oh my god, I'm just so tired of those motherfuckers. I'm sorry, they filled the game with lizards of just like every fucking culture, like my god, and they all do the same fucking thing. It's just, that's like the only enemy in the game besides them little Bigfoot motherfuckers, and then like the Griffin, and that's about it, bro. That's the only mobs in Dragon Age 2, bro. I mean, not Dragon Age 2, fucking Dragon's Dogma. Jesus Christ.
As entertaining as you might expect, if not exactly breaking new ground. That's a bit of a trend, actually. Avowed draws so much from the Skyrims and Dragon Ages of the past that it ends up an overall unsurprising adventure that has few distinctive ideas to call its own.
Many years ago, you were born.
And that's what I'm getting from this game and what Maddie said. It's like, he's like, yeah, it's nothing really innovative. I'm just like, we're gonna reach that point in games. Like, of course, there's more, you know, ideas and stuff to be, you know, had and like used and made, but we're gonna get to that point just like with graphics and like quality, like, oh, super realistic. I mean, we're already somewhat at that point of like super realistic shit. So when people complain about, oh, they're kind of cartoony now, well, I'm just like, there's a lot of realistic looking games. Like it's you know, we at that point, it's fine, you know. I'd rather have that shit. If for me, like, yeah, I mean, it's probably be like same shit, like, oh, you use magic and pew pew pew. Yeah. For me, I just want like they can do that, but I want a good story, right? If they have a good story, that would definitely, like, that's enough for me to like play a game like that over and over again, right? If they're not adding anything innovative to the genre. Of course, I would love innovation and like something new. Hopefully it don't turn out bad, but like, you know, I like the story, I like the world, you know. That's why I play a lot of RPGs and shit, you know. So if that's good, and you know, it's not superly innovative in terms of combat and all that other shit, but it's just like the other games, I mean, that's kind of fine for me. It probably just will never be like a 10 out of 10 type shit, right? Like Elden Ring or something, right? Just like with, I mean, we'll talk more about it later. This is probably gonna be like a 40-minute video. God damn it. I keep yapping, bro.
In Ardadiran Empire, and in a rare turn of the wheel, you came into this world, a godlike.
As both a chosen godlike imbued with magical
Of course,
powers
we're the chosen
and the
one.
envoy of the Emperor, your character is granted a downright irresponsible amount of authority to do whatever you please. And you're dispatched to
Hell
the wild
yeah.
continent of the living lands to put an end to a mysterious plague of madness called the Dream Scourge. There's no big hurry though, so you can also find time to aid any person on the street who asks you for help.
Look like in yeah, it looked like well, been like Baldur's Gate a little bit. I guess that's how you know, all these fantasy games are turning out to be in like you know, the 21st century now, or like the 2020s, you know. It's nothing bad. I'm just like pointing out that, oh, okay, they're gonna somewhat start looking the same now, you know.
Personal problem they might have.
Come back when you've dealt with them, and make sure you get their leader too.
You'll spend your days delving into ruined yet beautiful caves, sewers, and forgotten places in search of loot and XP, while taking every opportunity to wail on beasts and ne'er-do-wells with swords, bows, and spells. Yes, this is basically the premise of every Western RPG for the past several decades, but that's because it's a formula that works reliably. Avowed executes almost every aspect of it quite well. This is especially true of the dialogue and story, which is without question the thing Avowed does best.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Unraveling the mystery of the
Damn. Maybe I should have played Avowed first. I mean, for me, I do like combat and shit, but I also like stories. Like, I like being in the world, you know. I just like those genres and shit, you know, especially when I like watch TV shows and stuff and anime. I just like that genre, bro. I'm a nerd at heart.
The fungal Dream Scourge and the otherworldly forces at play is a journey
that might just be enough for me.
Especially since your decisions can have a profound impact on how things end up. Granted,
if it honestly, if it's better than Veilguard, please save me. Please save me. Like, give me my Dragon Age replacement besides Baldur's Gate, right? Because we don't know what happening with the next one, because Larian said they done with that shit. I don't know who's making the fourth one. Frankly, but Larian always puts out like heat, so I mean, I don't really care whatever they make. But like, I do like my Baldur's Gate.
Most of the twists and turns that Avowed's plot sets up become pretty apparent well before your character and their companions become aware of them, which is a bit disappointing given the Pillars of Eternity series' track record for wild revelations that took me by surprise.
Looks more like a curse to me.
Even so, the story kept the adventure running full steam the whole time, especially with interesting choices to make to keep you company along the way. In my case, that took 50 hours. But that was kind of a completionist run. You could burn through it.
Wait, what? 50?
Especially with interesting choices to make to keep you company along the way. In my case, that took 50 hours. But that was kind of a completionist run. You could burn through it in half that time.
Really? I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, I heard the game is like you can finish it, like the main story in like 25 hours. That's fine though, because Dragon Age 2 was like, I finished that bitch less than 25 hours. I think that shit was like 23 hours. I finished it low key. And that was more of like a just doing straight up main quests and shit. Like I did a couple side quests, but it was just mainly main quests. I think, but Dragon Age 2 is a small game anyways. I mean, like you'll finish that shit in like 30 hours or so. I think with my last run, it was like my second run with the DLC combined, I was like 35 hours I think I played. But that's fine. Like, you don't need like 50 plus hours in a game, you know. I think 20 hours, especially nowadays, you know, like 25 is a good mark. It's a good mark. I would say 20 is the minimum, you know. Maybe for like main quests and shit, and then like the overall game maybe like 30 hours, right? But between 20 hours minimum, I need to be in the game. I feel like that's a good mark, especially because if you got like work, if you got a life, bro, you got a life, right? I got a life, so yeah, I haven't even played Marvel Rivals in like 2 weeks, I think. So that's, yeah, partially because of Kingdom Come Deliverance, but you know what I'm saying? Like I got shit to do, so you know, people got shit to do.
Much encouragement.
Bantering alongside your four companions is especially delightful. Each of them brings their own opinions, personal problems for you to untangle,
I appreciate these little moments.
and cool combat and puzzle-solving abilities to rely upon while exploring the living lands.
Ready, aim.
Hanging
I got
out with Kai,
guns?
the sarcastic reptilian mercenary with a fondness for woodworking, is rarely dull.
That almost does sound like a punishment.
And bringing the furry, cat-like, and
Who the fuck?
relentlessly horny mage Yatsli along will almost guarantee you won't have to go
Oh, Lord.
without some choice innuendos.
We got a fucking...
The breath already.
We got an OnlyFans girl in here.
To one of the
Jesus
boys.
Christ.
See if they can help with your stamina, dear.
I'm playing.
Sadly, she's just a tease.
Bro, that one girl that had, like, sex with, like, 1,000 people. Jesus Christ, bro.
You can't actually romance any of them, and the social
Oh.
links you can develop are fairly shallow. That's not crucial or anything, but it seems like a missed opportunity for a relatively easy win. It's otherwise great at building camaraderie with your eclectic found family, and even a fade to black sexy time scene can give you something to remember an RPG playthrough by. Just saying.
And let me tell you, waking up in a cold sweat does
But that's what
nothing for my fur.
Well, that's what I mean, you put that chick in there, I was assuming, like, oh, shit, there's about to be a bunch of romances. Dear God. But, sometimes it's also good for, like, expanding the lore and shit and, like, story. Like, you know, companions and shit, you know, Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age does that shit all the time. Sometimes it's like, what are the best parts of the game? Shit, and fucking horny ass niggas. But, you know, I was expecting that low key here. They don't do that at all. That's kind of weird. That's yeah. I mean, if you're having like a companion type game and you're talking, you'd expect, you know, like not even just like romances, but just like having more like conversations and shit, and like getting to know them more. You know, are they just gonna be a forgettable cast of people? I don't know.
When you aren't chatting up the locals, you'll probably be sending them back to the wheel for reincarnation via Avowed's tumultuous combat.
Reincarnation.
You'll face off against the usual baddies, from typical fantasy creatures and animals, to creepy wraiths and people driven to madness by the Dream Scourge. Fighting with melee weapons and magic feels smoother and more competent than it does in many similar fantasy RPGs. But evading dozens of enemies as they charge through sickly marshes and barren deserts isn't as easy as it looks. I spent most
That's
of
like
my
an interesting
time
move.
playing as a squishy wizard who had little in the way of protection and had to do my best to keep my distance, quick dodge like a champ, and rain down as many high-powered spells as I could to keep them at bay. I'm especially fond of how this one turns enemies.
Oh, let me should I like move my camera so you guys can see like the bottom left? Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at, I'm just observing, like all the fucking colors and shit.
Into floating piñatas, and this one just zaps everybody in a big area.
Interesting.
Alternatively, there are more martial character build options that require more blocking, stabbing, and making use of power attacks to break the enemy's guard. And each of these
That looks satisfying
has
as
their own
hell.
skill trees that let you do neat things, like smack enemies onto their backs with a powerful ramming attack. As
Okay,
someone
that
who
looks kinda
insists on
cool.
playing on the hardest
Oh!
difficulty on my first run, I definitely found myself knocked on my butt more than a few times, and accidentally stumbling into an area that I wasn't properly leveled for was quite humbling, but it was never insurmountable. My biggest issue with combat is in the variety of opponents. For the vast majority of my 50-hour completionist run, I found myself fighting the same handful of enemy types everywhere I ventured, and almost none of them are interesting or unique in their behaviors to begin with. There's, of course, skeletons in need of re-killing, oversized spiders that spit gunk at you, and bears, oh my. Just as an aside, by God, there are so many bears in this world. Even when it doesn't really make any sense for them to be here, they throw a few bears.
Yeah, what the fuck? Those nigga friends or what? They working
into the
together?
mix. Why are there two of them sitting around a campfire with bandits? What are they? They're pets? They've got two pet bears? Okay. Anyway, after a few hours, the novelty of fighting these humdrum fantasy baddies and my interest in squaring off against them diminished. Every once in a while, something big, scary, and unexpected would arrive and make me remember how to defeat a non-bear opponent, but these welcome surprises are too few and far between.
Yeah, oh my lord. Okay, well, I feel like shit. I guess it is gonna be somewhat of a mid game for me, right? Looking like I mean they're like annoyances, right? But like too many annoyances, you know. Like blank companions, the same enemies, you know, shit like that adds up. Turns out to be a mid game, possibly. I mean, we'll see it when I play it. You know, because Dragon Age Inquisition, you know, it got Game of the Year. It's not the best game though. I did enjoy it. It is one of my favorite games, low key. But it's also like it depends on the person, right? It depends on what they like. You know, they could excel in one area, but like another area could just be okay. I feel like that's what it's gonna be like here.
See while exploring each of Avowed's.
The same with Dragon's Dogma. They kind of had too much shit against them, but the combat was just like I really enjoyed it. You know, that was just like one of the peak things that I liked. And just like the things you do, but everything else just was like so low on the bar, bro, that it dragged the game down. It just dragged it down.
Open world hubs, each filled with side quests to complete, minor puzzles to solve, hidden chests to loot, and people to talk smack to.
Get out before we use your bones to make Petru a new cage.
It's a structure that resembles the Outer Worlds' separate planets. None of the maps are especially big, but they make great use of the space they have, and they're all delightfully colorful and brimming with personality that's a welcome change from the sometimes drab and dull places we end up exploring in other RPGs. There's also
there's a lot of color in this game, I'm guessing, because they said it's like some disease that's happening, but it's making the world look pretty damn cool, honestly.
Surprising amount of uneven.
Yeah, and the maps, you know, again, Veilguard, don't like it, but the maps in Veilguard were like a good size, you know. It's one of the only things they somewhat got right, and it's probably partially because I mean, yeah, we were hounding them for like Inquisition too big, Dragon Age 2, it's kind of schmealing, but they were like working towards a multiplayer, you know, type of game, so that probably helped them out in terms of like the size of the maps. But again, you don't need like a huge map, you know. Like it sounds something similar to Veilguard. This is one of the things I didn't hate, so that sounds good.
Even terrain, since Avowed really seems to want you to engage with its parkour system that lets you mantle up ledges and do some minor platforming to reach hidden places. You won't be wall running or swinging from poles like you find in Dying Light, but it's still a nice touch that gives you something else to do when you're exploring the living lands.
Yeah, that's fine. Damn.
However, while these maps are great,
do they take fall damage when they? I hope they do.
To explore
when
the
they fall.
First time you go through them, they don't give you many reasons to stick around or run through again, since enemies never respawn. This is a blessing insofar as you don't have to retread the same areas to fight monsters and bears that have arbitrarily reappeared, but it also means any backtracking is completely devoid of life. They're empty to the point where I felt extremely pressured to move on to the next zone as soon as possible, because it felt as if the cleanup crew was going to show up to break down the set and remove the furniture at any moment.
Yeah.
Here's a clip of me walking across an entire map without encountering a single enemy.
My God. That's insane, right? Dang, maybe Dragon Age 2 was right all along. You know, you get a fucking bunch of enemies every 5 seconds, and I'm not exaggerating that shit. That was like, in terms of like all the Dragon Ages and like pretty much every game I played, that was the worst like timing in terms of mob deployment and shit. It was worse than I would even say Dragon's Dogma 2, and that shit was annoying too. But I feel like in Dragon Age 2, that was just bad. Like, every 5 seconds you try to go somewhere, just be random enemies just spawning onto you. It was so fucking annoying. God damn. Here, it's just... I get that. Like, I kind of, you know, I don't like running into a lot of enemies, especially after I just killed like a bunch of people and I'm just trying to get to objective. Yeah, but you could still have like motherfuckers spawn and, you know, have like some farming spots if you want like some, you know, some ingredients or things to craft stuff with. I mean, yeah, just still have some little spawn spots, because other than that, like, I mean, it kind of realistic in a sense, like you kill them all, right? But still, you know, I get what he's saying. I don't think I'd like that either. Just don't make it like Dragon Age 2.
One thing that impressed me the most about Avowed, it's the fact that across my 50 plus hours with it on Xbox Series X, I encountered almost no glitches or technical issues worth mentioning. There was one time where I unwittingly killed an optional boss before accepting the quest to hunt it down, another where my compass wouldn't tell me where to go for the next part of the main story, and sometimes I'd see odd polygons pop in and out while exploring the world. But I can count the number of times these things happened on one hand, and I didn't experience a single crash even once during my entire time playing. That's all but unprecedented for this genre.
Unlike Dragon Age. Well, for me, no, Dragon Age was actually fine in terms of like glitches and stuff. I mean, like maybe it was part of the game, but like the textures, like I remember it was in like my first episode of my playthrough, like the first hour or so. It was in that elven place or whatever, Arlefin Forest. It's like when I moved up on this, I think it was like a log or something. It was a log. The textures would get like better, like more detail, but then when I moved back, it immediately like just no textures at all. I mean, that kind of makes sense somewhat, but like no, not really. If I'm still like that close to it, like it should still be the same some way. Like it shouldn't, the texture shouldn't like completely somewhat disappear. I also like my Dragon Age crashed out. Yeah, the game crashed out for me like that first playthrough also, but I mean, I didn't lose really any save progress. I mean, I already finished the mission and stuff, so it was fine. I didn't really have an issue after that. Other than those couple of things, like, nah, those are just the main things I remembered. Other than that, it was fine, you know.
Genre, and an
it's probably better here.
Welcome surprise. With awesome world building and stellar character writing, Avowed reminds me why I fell in love with Obsidian art.
Okay, so the characters are kind of good, but I guess you just can't do like much in terms of like, you know, outside of the cinematics and stuff, right? In terms of like conversing with them or like any outside activities. Probably not a lot.
Place. However, the bigger picture is that it plays it quite safe, with a by-the-numbers fantasy adventure that's more familiar than evolutionary, and there's barely any enemy variety to keep its swords and sorcery battles interesting for long.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't swing for the fences or leave a memorable mark on the genre though, it's still perfectly competent with all the tried and true stuff I expect, including chaotic combat, leveling systems, and a loot progression that lets you build the kind of character you want to play, and meaningful decisions that can have a massive impact on the world. Plus, the whole thing's surprisingly technically stable compared to its reliably unreliable peers. I enjoyed my time parkouring my way through Eora, and think you will too. Just don't expect Avowed to show you anything you haven't seen before. For more, check out our reviews of Civilization 7 and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
I don't really... I think... Did we watch that? Well, I mean, I know the review. Like, I saw the number. They gave that a 9. This is probably the most... and again, in terms of my taste and in terms of, like, watching a little bit of Maddie's review and then, like, some other things, seeing some other reviews and shit online. This is probably what I'll probably rate the game once I play it. Yeah, I'm gonna play it because, oh god, Jesus Christ. 5, 7. Well, maybe it's worse than that, right? Let me bring my freaking camera down. Yeah. Damn. Well, it might be skewered too because, you know, the fucking YouTube thing is kind of somewhat inaccurate. If you saw like the little videos and shit, like fucking exposing it, but I mean it's somewhat. But anyways, I mean still, I mean it's somewhat significant, I guess. Sure, why not? But it's looking like what I would rate it, like a 7 out of 10. You know, nothing innovative, nothing crazy. Maybe if like either one or the other, either like you can do more stuff with the companions, or you just get better mobs, right? You get better enemies. Either one or the other probably would have bumped it up easily to like an 8 out of 10, you know, or some shit like that. Combat, I mean, I guess he said it was fine, right? I mean, whatever. I think he played, but yeah, he played as a warrior and it's like a mage. Yeah. I mean, it's for me, it's just like, I like doing magic spells. Yeah, yippee. Also, like swinging my sword and shit. Yeah, it does look pretty satisfying when he had that little hammer shit. The spells look somewhat satisfying. Like, okay. It looks, yeah. I don't know how I feel about all that. Like, I gotta get my hands on these because I mean, it's not different, right? But it's just the type of magic combat where I just need to like play it myself to see if I like it. I feel like, you know, yeah, he's getting jumped. My God. I don't think he did. Well, he did play it on the highest difficulty. Damn, 30 minutes. We were yapping. I mean, this is like my type of game, like genre. Even though it's looking to be pretty, you know, yeah. But I feel like for me, it probably might turn out to be a 7 out of 10. Probably a 6 out of 10, if anything. Because, like, if they, like, he said spiders, bears, and, like, fucking, I don't know what the other one was. The lizard people or the god, I don't know. I don't fucking know. In Dragon's Dogma 2, yeah, I said, like, the fucking variety was, like, bad, but, like, I feel like it's even worse here. It might be worse here in terms of enemies and shit. You know? So if they had the variety in Dragon's Dogma 2, it might be a bit better, you know? Because even with Dragon's Dogma 2, I mean, you got the fucking Bigfoot nigga, you got the bear nigga. They're all like the same size and they do the same fucking attacks, but they're different, quote unquote, you know? It's a little bit more mobs, but I mean, it's really just like the same motherfuckers, low-key. You will never guess what they gave this game. 7. Homie had it bad for that cat girl. Yeah, he did. He did. Facial expression is giving me Andromeda, tired face, flashback. Yeah, that blonde girl, for sure. After giving Veilguard a 9 out of 10, your review data. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really trust it. I mean, of course, like, the Veilguard one was just completely wrong. I feel like, if anything, they should give that shit. That deserved a 7 out of 10, if anything. But I believe, like, that game is, like, a 6 out of 10. If anything. Like, at most. Brought to you by 7-Up. A little something for everyone. 7 out of 10. Great overall game. Can't sleep with NPCs. 7 out of 10. That's what I'm saying. But it's weird how they put that little pink creature, whatever the fuck she is, in there, and they don't have that shit though. Yeah. Too many bears. 7. Too much bear. Too much to bear. Actually lacking the ability to imagine a fantasy race of monsters may have domesticated an animal in a fantasy game. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Art style is rough. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I look, at the first couple of seconds, I had to give that shit a pause, you know. Should have stuck with the dark gothic look they had in the Oh, that actually would have... It kind of would have made sense with the story, too. Here, they're just going for, like, just colorful shit. I don't know, maybe they were trying to be, like, different. But nowadays, you know, everyone's trying to be all colorful and shit, so they should have gone with that style, probably, in my opinion. But, if you know who the director is, then it makes sense. Oh, Lord. Here we go. It looks quite ugly to me. Blue skin guy look kind of cool. All the human characters look uncanny. Every character is wearing makeup. Yeah. Yeah, especially that dude's character. Civ 7 gets visually critiqued the whole review and gets a 7. Avowed gets I was thinking that was going to be a 7 because it's Civilization 7. So, yeah. I thought right. Avowed gets complimented through and gets a 7. Yeah, that is interesting. I feel like if they're gonna do all that, it just should be like an 8. But I mean, too big budget, or like they need to do 0.5s, bro. They need to do 0.5s for sure. Too big budget to give it a 6. Not good enough to give it an 8. Honestly, that's what I think. Like 7.5. I don't know, bro. Like. Because I gotta play it for myself, but like from what he's saying, like it doesn't seem terrible. I mean, because a lot of people don't want like complicated combat and shit. Like that's just, you know, what they don't want, right? But it just, I don't know. They need to do 0.5s, bro, or something. Like 6.5? I don't know. There's something. Showed up so early that I avoided the ads in the beginning. Those dead eyes and facial animation always get me. IGN must really love Cristiano Ronaldo. They give, oh lord. I thought he was going to say Avowed is a return to form. Was he actually about to say that?
Fictional action RPG comfort food we know and love. Set in
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe because they said it during Dragon Age, and, you know, look how that turned out to be not a return to form. Why does it look jankier than the gameplay? Yeah, it doesn't like it. I know it's like it's with the art style. The art style throws me off, and then the gameplay is like okay, but it just feels yeah, it feels janky. I guess that's the word for it, right? Because I'm just seeing I don't terribly see it with the like the hand-to-hand combat, like the swords and shit, but I did see it with the magic, and I'm just like gotta. And that's why I'm like, you know, I gotta play it myself to like see if I actually like it, I guess, but it don't look the best, you know. Needs to overhaul their scoring system, giving everything a 7 is so lazy. Yeah, like they're definitely playing it safe here. To be called IG7, looks like a VR game. Yeah. Like the most innovative thing they did was just make it first person. And I mean that's been done before time and time again, but like I guess because maybe not like a big ass game like this it's supposed to be a big ass game. You know, we haven't seen like first person in the second. Maybe it gave it that extra bump in score, I don't know, but you know. Gave the video game praise for not crashing. These are now honestly, these are the standards. These are the standards. You see, 2023 was just the worst of the bunch. That was the worst year for I mean, we got Baldur's Gate, but it's just like so many like fucking failures that year, you know. Redfall should have been amazing. Like that should have been a return to form, to, you know, to that fucking genre, just like, you know, zombies slaying instead of zombies vampires. But they dropped the ball really badly. That was a game I was really looking forward to, and they fucked it up. Just like how they're gonna fuck up Assassin's Creed Jetta is like, well, it's already fucked up. I don't even gotta play it. I don't even want to play it, bro. Also confused on why people think the setting is generic. It's rare we get a first person. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it also happened before, right? It happened before. It's not anything innovative, or yeah, innovative. That's the word. But it is somewhat refreshing to see, though, I will say, because the last time I can only think of Skyrim doing that. I can't think of any other RPG that did something like that. Besides, like, I mean, shooter games, right? They're always first person, but yeah. But I mean, like, it's definitely it's not superly generic. I mean, there's a lot more color because like the disease, I guess, is like colorful and shit. You know, all those mushrooms or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know really what the story really is. I just know they're like, yeah, so there's a disease going on or something. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. The world is generic is likely what they mean. Yeah, the setting and world, yeah, you gotta, I guess, separate that. Yeah, that makes sense. It's the world. But yeah, anyways, I mean, IGN complaining RPG feels too much like an RPG is a very IGN thing to do. Yeah, but I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, at a certain point, I mean, we're somewhat at that certain point. Like, people are going to do this genre of gaming over and over again, and there's not really going to be, like, anything innovative except for, like, different types of story, I guess, you know, continuing the story. I mean, so, I mean, when you have that, like, and sometimes maybe even stories and shit will start to get bland, you know? And so, I mean, you just gotta try and enjoy the combat and shit, so, because we are getting to that point, you know? Yeah, you are getting to that point in terms of, like, reaching the peak. We already kind of reached it with the graphics and the shit like that, so, yeah, I mean, in terms of, I feel like for me, it'll probably be a 7 out of game, too. Probably more enjoyable than Veilguard. So it'd probably, you know, be like a 7.5 maybe for me. But in general, like, I feel like it will be like it'll be between a 6 and an 8 for me. Genuinely, I don't know if I'm gonna. I probably won't stream it. I don't know. We're streaming KCD2 right now, so I mean, we'll see. But like, yeah, I mean, I'll play the game. I'll probably. I mean, they said the story was pretty damn good, so I'll likely enjoy the story. The combat is just okay. Everything else is just okay. You know, it's just on the okay scale. So yeah, I mean, I've played okay games before, and I guess enjoyed it for what it is, just an okay game. Pretty much just be prepared for what it is, like an okay mid-ish game. But I mean, there is other reviewers that are like, oh, they don't love it, you know, yeah, they don't love it. I gotta watch that too. It's just nothing like nothing exciting or like genre changing, right? Like innovative, like Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate, some shit like that. So yeah, I mean, overall, in my opinion, I mean, we just gotta play the game, right? But I mean, again, between a 6 and 8 out of 10 is looking like for me. But we'll see. But hopefully, I gotta watch the rest of that Maddie review. But hopefully I will somehow enjoy the game, because I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, what do you think about the game? You think it's bad? You think it's good? Did you play it yet? Let me know. Comment below. Alright, peace.
Shot at a black man and took his shoes. Customized my AR like it's Black Ops 2. Just scammed a white kid out of some Gorilla Glue. I don't wanna fuck this bitch, she smell like poo poo.